When the recession hit at the end of 2008, we began a conversation in the community to try to understand what was happening to families and individuals. People were being laid off, foreclosure rates went up, personal bankruptcies went off, and we begin to see the fabric of the community fray.
There wasn't a sector of the population that wasn't affected by the recession.
I just remember having conversations here at Hawaii Community Foundation about this is something that we need to address. It's a critical need, and this stood out as something that we had to act on quickly.
So the idea was to go out in the community and really meet with the agencies that were seeing these families, seeing these individuals, and to begin to shape a strategy that we could all join in together.
Hawaii Community Foundation brought service providers together, and we sat around a table and they asked us, what are you seeing? What are the crises that people are dealing with? They truly listened. They took that information and developed the HCSI program.
I think CSI's big idea was that we can do more together than we can do separately.
When HCSI launched, we had a notion of the kind of impact we wanted to create, but there were no strong numbers or no promises about what could deliver. But here's the results. So $4.2 million to 30 organizations in the state were able to unlock another $23 million in benefits. We're able to help 33,000 families over that 3-year period. And that's something that I think couldn't have been achieved if not the funders had come together and believed enough in the strategy and trusted enough in each other to move the money quickly and to get it at work.
Consumer Credit Counseling Services came into us partway through this process and said that once the economy really went south, every one of their counselors had an average of 900 clients they were trying to serve. 900 for every one counselor, credit counselor.
And we were being inundated by people desperate for help from every background, every ethnicity, every income group, and to be forced to be pigeonholed to, this pocket of funding deals with this group, and this pocket of funding deals with, none of that applied with the HCSI funding. We were basically told and trusted as providers that we understood what our missions were, what our jobs were. Here's the funding, go do it.
This thing was a work in progress, but it was worth taking the additional risk in terms of absorbing some uncertainty, saying yes even though some of the elements weren't quite in place, in order to make sure that something would come together quickly to serve the families.
So there were really 3 goals. One was to build the capacity of the credible organizations to help families around that were in financial crisis. The second was to draw down on all of the available funding that was at the federal and state levels that people were not accessing fully. So one of the goals, for example, was to draw down on about a $17 million surplus that existed in the state for SNAP or food stamps. The third goal was to build this infrastructure so that as we started to come out of the recession, families were going to be able to do things like save money, begin to take loans for things like cars or other kinds of needs, so that there was also a bridge from the recession, out of the recession, that would help those families stabilize.
One of the key successes, I think, of HCSI was to build the throughput capacity of a series of nonprofit organizations to increase the number of families that it could connect with the money that they could get. And that leverage was huge.
Having dealt with many, government programs, the distance between the time a problem is identified and resources are actually deployed to deal with the problem is excruciatingly long.
Government can't turn on a dime, but foundations can.
After the creation of the collaborative, within 30 days, we made our first grant to frontline organizations so they could staff up. It took them about 60 days after that in order to hire staff to meet the demands, but immediately, literally within 3 months of the creation of HCSI, basically there were people being hired on the front lines to help with the demands.
The bottom line is the HCSI funding could not have been better timed because it enabled services to so many at a very critical point in time.
The great joy for the Hawaii Community Foundation has been to work with the other 11 funders in the Funder Collaborative. They brought their A game. They brought their commitment, they brought their passion, they brought their energy. We all learned from each other, and we had a chance to achieve something just really quite remarkable.
I would like to say thank you to those people. They're the ones who I consider to be heroes. Without people doing that type of work, how can we survive and succeed? Of course, you know, it's hard to achieve perfection, but we want to be successful and meet our dreams. And so in my mind, they're my heroes.